Don't blame your parents. Yes, I say this with a lot of authority because each one of us have been there. We have blamed our parents and we did not know why we did it. But the ultimate truth is blaming our parents does not take us anywhere. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you two people and their stories, which we all know, and why blaming their parents did not help them. Hey everyone, I am CSK, your personal coach, and you're watching me on my channel, CSKSpeaks. Blaming does not help really anyone. Let me talk to you about my own story. When I was a kid, I always used to blame my parents. I always used to blame them for a variety of reasons. Reason number one, comparisons. We were two siblings, so always I used to blame them for comparing between both of us, me and my brother. So I had no reason to do that, but I still found every possible action of theirs and blamed them and said them that they like him more than me. Number two, because I started comparing, I started treating them in a biased manner by calling them that they are biased, they are partial, because every single thing they gave me did not matter, and every single thing they gave him really mattered, and thereby I started blaming them again that they are partial, they show bias, and they like him more than they like me, and what matters to them is just he and not me. The third reason which I blamed them for was lack of giving me what I want. I always asked them for a variety of things, but they knew what is important to me, what is necessary to me, and they only gave me that. For example, I wanted pocket money. I never got it. I never got my pocket money. So I blamed them. I blamed them saying, my friends get pocket money, but why don't you give me? My friends get to party or go and enjoy the cakes, the pastries, the pizzas, and the burgers. Why don't you treat me like that? Birthdays are occasions where I get to carry things to my friends, whether it is chocolates, taking them for a PlayStation and other things. But my parents never encouraged all of that, and thereby I blamed them again and again and again. But you know what? In the end, that blame did not really help me, nor did they help them. It only created problems. It created problems like, for example, I always started running behind things which gave me instant gratification. My uncle or aunt gave me 100 rupees for my birthday. Suddenly, my uncle and aunt became more important to me than my parents. My friends took me for a movie. Suddenly, my friends became very popular in my life than my parents. So, end result, blaming really did not help. And it took me a lot of time for understanding this fact. Now, if you are watching this video and you are in your 20 something, stop blaming your parents. You don't have to listen to me or take my words as a sermon. Let's look at the lives of two great people, great in the mere sense of wealth, two wealthy people, two wealthy individuals who became great as the most popular, the most flamboyant, the most wealthiest family of this nation. I'm talking about the Ambani family. I'm talking about Dhirubhai Ambani and his two sons, Mukesh and Anil. Well, I'm talking about them in first party context because I have got personal experience of understanding the family ethos. I have read about Dhirubhai Ambani. I have researched about his journey and how he has grown from a petrol bunk attendant to the founder and the chairperson of India's largest conglomerate of industries. I've also studied closely and heard first party observations about both the lifestyle of Mukesh and also Anil. And that's why I'm here to tell you. But keeping all of that aside, let's go to the conclusion. Let's go to the end. Today, 2021, we all know where Mukesh Ambani is placed and where Anil Ambani is placed. Now, why am I giving you this contrast? Is because blaming does not take you anywhere. Blaming will only give you instant gratification, but at the end, it takes you only behind. It does not take you forward. Classic example is Anil Ambani. Now, I have proof. I have certain valid principles to prove my point, and that's what I'm going to take. This was when my own dad, visited the Reliance headquarters. This was in the year 2002, 2003, when he happened to visit the Reliance headquarters in Mumbai as part of his official business. And there he captured the photograph in front of Dhirubhai Ambani's headquarters or his office, where he had some ground rules put out for everyone. Those ground rules, it is said, are the guiding principles of Dhirubhai Ambani's life and success. Now, I'm going to put that photograph for you where my dad is standing in front of that Reliance headquarters for all of you to see. But I'm also going to put the photograph of the ground rules table. I know it's a very old photograph, you may not be clearly able to read those ground rules. So, what I've done, I have caught them on this postcard and I'm going to talk to you about each of those ground rules and just look at it. And when I read these ground rules, look at it as to what really went on when he had the same ground rules for everyone, whether it is Mukesh Ambani, whether it is Anil Ambani, or whether it is the entire organization which he built brick by brick. So here comes the first rule. He says, be open, speak your mind. Very simple as it sounds, always we got to speak our mind and be straight shooters. Now here there are two lessons for us. One, as an individual, why should I stop blaming my parents? And two, as a leader, as an organizational person, as a person who wants to become big and good in business or in entrepreneurship or even in life, these principles are valid. Just imagine as if Dhirubhai talking to you through these principles. So be open, speak your mind, is first principle. Second principle, which I'd like to explain, is there is no rank in this room. So Dhirubhai always believed in democracy. He believed that there is no rank in this room as far as you are presenting your opinion and as far as you are present in that particular room. So hierarchy does not exist when it comes to conversations, when it comes to expression, when it comes to opinions. Third, what you say stays within these walls. When there is no rank, then people can abuse rank. But what you say stays within these walls is a binding principle of confidentiality. Now look at these things. There are parenting tips, at the same time there are leadership principles. All the three things can be equally applied for parenting and at the same time can be equally applied to running our organizations. Number 4, everyone participates, no one dominates. Very simple, but very, very profound. Everyone participates, but no one dominates. Number 5, one speaker at a time. And this principle is something which we commonly abuse in our daily life. We all want to be heard, but nobody wants to listen. So, one speaker at a time is a very, very important principle. Now, the next one is kind of a follow up on this principle, be an active listener. As I said, everybody wants to be heard, nobody wants to listen, but make conscious effort to becoming an active listener. Then comes the next principle, and that is give your relevant experience freely. Now, when I read this principle, I was taken aback. We always try to ask this question, what is in it for me? What will I get in return? But look at this. Dhirubhai said the ground rule is to give your relevant experience freely. If you know you're good at something, If you know you can add value, don't worry about returns. Focus on giving it free of cost, because when you give quality, there is no way that you are not going to be recognized and rewarded and remembered. So that's the next principle what Dhirubhai said. Next, agree or disagree if it makes sense. So you can be free to agree or you can be free to disagree, as long as that agreement or disagreement of yours makes sense to people around. Don't just disagree just for the fact that you want to disagree. And that's what happens in our daily life. I started blaming my parents and disagreeing with them only because I thought they were biased. I started to blame somebody or I don't want to accept somebody's suggestion just because I don't like them. So agree or disagree only if it makes sense. The next principle is question no matter how obvious is the answer. The art of questioning, the art of asking why is very important. Today, I stand here and I realize if back then I would have gone to my parents or asked them directly as to why. Why are they biased between both of us? Or why are they doing whatever they did? I would have got my answer. But what I did was not ask them, but assume and created commotion in my own mind. And that's what happens in our lives. Last and the most important principle among the 10 principles is this, and this is very, very interesting. Humor in the right place is a bonus. Humor in the right place is a bonus. Life need not be as serious. I've said this before. Take it easy was one of my ways of looking at life. You can go back and watch that video where I said that Ahmed and his auto driver story has created a lot of change in my perspective of life. Take it easy. Humor in the right place is a bonus. Now, these 10 ground rules, as Dhirubhai called and framed it in his office, was common for everyone, whether it was Mukesh or whether it was Anil or whether it was any other manager or a leader in Reliance Industries. Even an outsider like my father, when he visited, he could see these ground rules and take a lesson out of those ground rules. So, friends, why am I bringing this to you? Is for two simple reasons. Number one, blaming does not take you anywhere. Especially when you are young, you end up blaming parents for no fault of theirs. They, if at all they do anything, is only with one simple reason, that they want your best interest in mind. They do it for your good. No parent in this planet or on this planet will have some wrong intentions for their own offsprings, their own children. So keep that fundamental principle in your mind. Second, when you grow up with blaming, when you evolve with blaming people around you, it becomes a habit. And that's my worry. Because the minute you get into the habit of blaming each other, there is no end to it. You are on the slippery slope. Because the only thing which you will do easily and effortlessly is to blame everyone who come into your life or whose life you walk into. So stay away from blaming. Don't blame your parents if you are doing it, and listen and remember these 10 principles, because that need not be reserved only for Reliance Industries. It can be for all of us, because Dhirubhai is an example of what human potential can achieve on this planet. Thank you so much for watching CSK Speaks. Till next time, do like, do share, and do comment on these videos on my channel.